Pickle, let's go to the hotline. And let's bring in the head coach of the Belton Tigers. We're going to Central Texas to talk to Coach Brett Sniffin. Coach, how are you?
I'm good.
How are things in beautiful Belton, Texas?
It is beautiful, and it's a great day today.
Absolutely. I want to ask you a little bit about your 2020 season. Your first year there at the helm there in Belton after moving over from Fort Bend, Ridgepoint. And you guys go 3-6, but I make the argument that record is a little bit deceiving because you guys were in a lot of games. You guys were nip and tuck with a lot of these teams. When you take a look at the 2020 season as a whole, how do you sum up what you guys were able to do?
We feel like you do. Don't feel like it felt like a 3-6 season. We definitely feel like more like a 6-3 season. We lost 1 by 1, 1 by 2, and another one in overtime. And every game we played was a one-score game going into the fourth quarter. We're just trying to teach these kids how to finish, and we're real close to doing it.
Well, and you're a guy who, of course, has helped to build programs up before. You did that at Fort Bend Ridgepoint, got them up to heights. And so I guess my question is, how do you get those kids to finish? Is it just a matter of being there for long enough? Is it just a matter of culture? Is it just a matter of getting the reps in? How do you I don't want to say teach a team to finish, but how do you get a team from a team that loses 3 games by one possession to a team that ends up winning those games?
As coaches, we just have to instill confidence in those kids that they believe they can get it done when the game's on the line, when the big play needs to be made, the third down stop needs to happen. Everybody knows that had to deal with. There was a new coach that had to deal with coming into a team. You lost some of that with losing spring football, and then just the uncertainty all summer. And then all of a sudden we get rolling, and it's just going so fast that we were just like kids were drinking from a fire hose there. But to have a full off season, to get those kids grinding and learning how to compete, I feel like we're getting real close to getting there.
Yeah, that's an interesting question because obviously you take over this program during the strangest off season of all time. You're able to you're not able to get in the same room with your kids as much as you want. You're not able to have the practices and stuff like that. Is there a sense of, obviously the pandemic's still going, you still have these protocols in place to make sure everybody's staying safe, but you are able to be more together more often this offseason than you did last offseason. Is there a sense of relief? Is there a sense of, okay, now we can start building this program the way that we want? Is there a sense of maybe, I don't want to say starting over, but kind of hitting a reset button here?
Yeah, I don't know if it's starting over or reset, but it's just I think everybody's more comfortable with the protocols that we have to follow, and it's almost become second nature. And now it's just part of the process. We look forward to the day when it's not part of the process, but it's a process now. And so we know how to coach better in it. We know how to connect those kids. And I think also the community, UIL, the school district, everybody else is comfortable with what we're doing as well. To follow all that and then still get our work in that we need to get done and build that culture, as you said.
We're talking with Brett Sniffin, the head coach of the Belton Tigers here on Texas Football Today. Get involved with the conversation at #TFToday. Coach, I want to ask you about your 2021 team. Obviously, the 2020 season is not too far in the rearview mirror, but I know you've got you're getting a pretty decent feel for what your 2021 team is going to look like. Have you figured out quite yet how you think this team may be different than the 2020 team?
Yeah, for one, I think the trust is there between the coaches and the kids. So I feel like that we have a good team base that we might not have had at the beginning of last year. I feel like we'll be a little bit faster on defense. We'll be able to run to the football a little bit better and play much better on that side of the ball. Offensively, we're going to be very mobile, and I feel like our offense could be pretty explosive.
On the defensive side, this is a defense that I think that, I would say maybe inconsistent last year. There were times where you guys looked really good and other times when you guys struggled. How do you find how do you find that consistency defensively? Is that another case of just having another year with the same voice in the room is going to do wonders?
That does for one, and I just feel like our kids have bought in. Where I came from, we stressed defense and built our program to where it was. And that's what we're trying to do here as well. We moved some kids from the offensive side that played offense for 2-3 years. They're playing defense in the coming year. Just was working to try and put good athletes over there. I think everybody knows to win it, you got to score points, but at the same time, you got to have critical stops at critical times. And that's the same thing for us, and that's what we're trying to do.
Brett Sniffin from Belton joined us here on Texas Football Today. Coach, one guy that I know you're really excited about is a tight end. I don't know how you always show up and you got great tight ends. At Fort Bend Ridge Point, you had Mustafa Muhammad, who of course was such a superstar there. Now you got another guy in Brian Henry. They call him Itty. There's nothing itty about him. It's 6'5", 225. Tight end I think is an underappreciated position. What is it about Brian Henry that catches your eye?
Well, first of all, I'm glad you mentioned him because right now he's under recruited in my opinion, and being in Texas, don't quite get the traffic, and we're not as many people obviously with NCAA restrictions. But Brian, or Itty as we'll call him, is the most complete tight end that I've ever coached. He blocks really well, catches the ball, has great hands, route running, and obviously the size to go with it. I think what really sets him apart is when he's hands on the ground or when he's standing up, he's the same thing. And you see in college and the pros, people really things happen, catch the ball in tough situations, get first downs for you. And Itty is definitely a guy.
And finally, Coach, I want to ask you about another player who you coached on that 2020 season. And it's a guy who's now off to Tyler Junior College. Your outstanding linebacker, Joe Sniffin, who I know was a big part of your defense last year. We love talking with coaches about this because this, in a lot of ways, this is kind of a family sport. For last year, obviously moving from one job to another, your son Joe comes along with them. How special was it for you, even in a strange 2020 season, for you to get to experience that season with him?
Well, it's just fantastic to be able to coach your sons and then watch them grow as players. Joe in our scrimmage, third ever scrimmage, tore his ACL and his right knee, and he had a choice to make: does he have surgery then, or does he continue to battle on and not waste a senior year? And he decided to play. We braced it up and got after it. And he just showed tremendous heart and leadership in the team by gutting enough to do. But coach your kids. I tried to avoid them actually at practice and let the other coaches take care of them, and they judge them and tell them where to go. So then at home I could be dad and not try to critique them all the time.
So you're keeping your distance a little bit because you understand the limitations of your objectivity.
That is correct.
He's Brett Sniffin. He's the head coach of the Belton Tigers. Coach, really appreciate your time. Excited to see what you guys do in 2021, and we're looking forward to seeing your Tigers.
I appreciate it. Thanks for having me on.
There he goes, Brett Sniffin, the head coach of the Belton Tigers. Join us here on Texas Football Today.